Hello and welcome to episode 135 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we finish off Botania by defeating the Gaia Guardian, set up a tier 4 draconic evolution fusion crafter, and summon a demon to imbue the power of its heart into a draconic. Also, eternal coils are done. Hello, I'm back in hell. Let me give you some context. So, I'm trying to make Mark V compact fusion. The eternal coils are still crafting, by the way, but yeah. My next goal is going to be Mark V Compact Fusion, for which I need tons and tons of Molten Dragonblood. And there is this recipe for Molten Dragonblood, but look at the time and power, and it also consumes a dragon egg, which is fine, I can make more dragon eggs, but it's just, I need endium in one of these steps here. Endium's a bit annoying, and I'm going to need a lot of dragon eggs. So this recipe, while it exists, is not really feasible, which means I need Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafting. Not only that, I need Tier 3 Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafting, but we'll come back to the tiers later. To make the multi itself, or specifically the controller, I need to finish every magic mod in the game, pretty much. And surprisingly, I have already done most of that. The only one left is Botania. I just need to defeat the Gaia Guardian, and that will get me Gaia Spirit, and then I can use that to make the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter. To make Gaia Spirit ingots, I need Terra Steel and Gaia Spirit, and Gaia Spirit has no crafting recipe. It's only obtained from the Gaia Guardian boss fight, which is what I am currently building up to. So I got a bunch of Mana Steel, and I've taught the recipe for Gaia Pylon. I guess I've already done the research somehow. I don't remember when, but I have done it. And once I have the Gaia Pylons, actually, it's basically done, which is crazy. There's not much I actually need to do to get this done. Once I have the pylons, I'm going to go far away from the base, set up this boss fight, and then I can set up the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter, which I suppose will go in the magic building. Potentially. We'll see. First, let me get the rest of this bitch work done. You know, to be honest, that wasn't so bad. It was just a few infusions, which was the worst part. And more, I'm starting to think that my problem with magic is actually Thaumcraft specifically. Because the Botania part of this was not so bad. Anyway, to put this together, you need a beacon, and you need Gaia Pylons. 4 of them, and they go in specific spots. So it's with a beacon in the center, and then 4 blocks away, diagonally, and 1 block up, is where you have to place the 4 Gaia Pylons, on all 4 sides. The arena also has to be generally pretty flat in a 12 block radius. So let me fill this up really quick. So here I have a nice flat arena. It's a little ugly. You know what? I'm going to replace this with bit. Alright, now I have a nice flat arena. And I believe all I need to do is throw a Terra Steel ingot to start the fight. Nope. Ah, no, I don't throw it on. I shift right click the beacon with the Terra Steel ingot. That starts the fight. Hey, that's me. Now I can't leave the arena, and I should not fly out because that cancels the fight. And I have a feeling projectiles are not going to work, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But I have a bound blade. Now the damage on the Gaia Guardian fight is capped, so this is kind of... There's kind of no point to having overpowered weapons, except for the Sword of the Cosmos, which will insta-kill, but I need to do the fight to get that. And here is the invulnerability phase, where I just have to wait 45 seconds and kill some mobs. Finally. Now that was a pretty annoying fight, I won't lie. So I'm gonna investigate to see if there are some tips and tricks to streamline this process, and then I'm gonna have to do it a few more times. I need 36 Gaia Spirit in total, and there is a second version of the fight, a hard mode, that uses a Gaia Spirit ingot to start. and that gives me double the amount of Gaia Spirit per kill. So I'm going to try and optimize this and also make a Gaia Spirit ingot so I can do this, and I will be right back. So this is pretty funny, but the way you cheese this fight is you fill up the arena with water. So I'm doing that with a Floodgate. It's not showing up on Wayla, but this is called a Floodgate, and basically you pump water into it, and it fills the entire area around it up to its own height. So this whole area is going to get filled up with water pretty soon. And the reason we do that is because the Gaia Guardian can't teleport onto water. So we leave a little platform here in the middle. This is the only place where the Gaia Guardian can go. And I have an oak seat from Bibliocraft, which I can sit on. And this completely negates the knockback effect when it hits me. So I just sit here and swing my sword until it dies. Truly riveting gameplay. But it is better than the alternative of getting bashed around and running in circles. So that's good. Only problem here is this is going to freeze up. And that gives it more spots for the Gaia Guardian to go. So slightly annoying. Alright, I'll be back and then we can do the actual hard mode Gaia Guardian fight. I don't think I'm going to show all of it though, because it is probably not going to be very interesting. Time for some content. So the water trick doesn't seem to work. Maybe it needs to be too deep, but I don't know. Where are you? I think the rim of it is a little bit too close. I think I need to extend this out by 1 block. Alright, I'll do that for the next fight. Alright, let's see what the Dice of Fate has. Damn it. Not what I wanted. I actually don't know what these things do. And at this point, I don't really care. Now I'm gonna craft up a Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter. Nothing super new here. Bloody Icorium Fusion Casings. These are easy to make now that Icorium is not a magic material anymore. Yeah, this should be done pretty quickly. Now that I have the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter, let's quickly talk about how we upgrade it. So Tier 1 uses Bloody Icorium Fusion Casings, which I have. Tier 2 uses Draconium Fusion Casings. These can be crafted in an assembler using Draconic Cores, and Draconic Cores are made in the Draconic Evolution Crafter. I need a Draconic Core schematic, which can be found in Pluto Dungeons, which I already have, which is great. So this is easily made. Once I have Draconium Fusion Casings, I can then make the Wyvern Fusion Casings. These are made using Wyvern Cores, and these are made in a Tier 2 Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafter. I'm also going to need a Wyvern Core schematic. This is made in an assembly line, and it is pretty easy to make. Once I have the Wyvern Casings, I can make the Awakened Draconium Fusion Casings. These need Awakened Cores, which are also made in the same way. This needs an Awakened Core schematic, which is also easy to make, and an Ender Quantum component, which I made before for something else that I don't remember. And finally, Tier 5, the Chaotic Fusion Casings. These ones I can't make, because I need Chaotic Cores, and Chaotic Cores need Chaos Fragments, which means I need to kill the Chaos Guardian. And I don't feel like doing that right now. But, in theory, I could, and besides that, everything else is pretty cheap and doable. But you don't get any new recipes for getting up to Tier 5. It's just a speed increase, so I don't really need it. For right now, what I really need, truly need, is Tier 3. But I can do all the way up to Tier 4, so I may as well. Now, I know I said I was going to set this up in the magic building, but that means I would have to set up a new LSC and a new wireless connection and all this shit. I don't want to do all that. I'm just going to put it here. I'm making the Awakened Cores now, and it is quite slow. I think I'm gonna need many Draconic Fusion Crafters. Anyway, I have some very important and significant news. The coils are done. 2112 eternal coil blocks, named after how long it takes to make them. Now this bottom DTPF is the one I'm going to upgrade. It has 11 million ticks run, which means I have 11,000 ticks to swap out the coils before I lose my bonus completely. The top one, unfortunately, is just going to be offline until I can get more eternal coils. But now that I have eternal coils, it should be much easier to make more of them. Because, first of all, I'm not going to need so much super heavy Radox. In fact, I won't need any. I just need heavy Radox, which is much easier to get. Besides that, I have access to a slightly improved Tesseract recipe, a better Molten Infinity recipe, a new Molten Quantum recipe, a new Molten Hypogen recipe, which is a lot better, and also a new Molten Spacetime recipe, which is also a lot better. So let me swap out these coils, and I'm going to start working on making more Eternal Coils for the second DTPF. And pretty soon, I should also be able to make Awakened Draconium Fusion casings, and then I can start the long grind of making Molten Dragonblood. Alright. Hot. It's a little much, but I kind of like it. I've updated all of the recipes in these crafting input buffers, and look at how much faster the spacetime is. I used to do 1 ingot in 5 seconds, and now I do 4 ingots in half that time. So it's like 8 times faster. That's awesome. That should make the rest of the coils much easier to make, but for now, this top DTPF is incomplete. Now, where do we go from here? There are still a few quests in UIV. Technically, I could enter UMV right now by making the machine hull. Machine hull is made of spacetime, which I can do. But it feels a little premature because I haven't finished the main thing of UIV, which is Project Godforge. To get to this, I need to make star fuel and dark matter. In a previous episode, I said that I couldn't find where the dark matter shards are used, but it's right here. The artificial gravity generator. This was used in the mothership, and I assumed it had no other use, but it is a crafting ingredient for boundless gravitationally severed structure casings. So that's one thing. The other major thing is Mark V fusion. I could pretty easily make a regular fusion reactor now, but I really want the compact. That said, making the compact is gargantuan. This is a massive task. Just the coils alone, I need 560 of them. This is almost a gigabyte sized craft. None of my CPUs are even close to big enough. I think what I'm gonna do right now is expand my CPUs significantly, increase buffer sizes where I can, which honestly should solve most of these issues. And then I'll take a look at what I'm actually missing at that point and see if I can address this. This looks insane. Maybe it's time to switch to Radox. I don't know. Maybe not. I also need 3.8 million Dragonblood, so I need to get started on that. Also need more Samarium. I don't have enough, which means I can use my QFT. But like, there's nothing new here. It's all stuff that I have, I just don't have enough. To make the controller, this is actually pretty easy. I can basically do this once I encode the Dragonblood recipe. Oh, about the Dragonblood, almost forgot. There are 2 recipe variants, and there's one that uses a dragon egg, which is fine, but it would be much better to use an infinity egg. I use less radon plasma and the same amount of awakened draconium, and I get more Dragonblood. This is the Beacomb recipe. I'm not doing this. I'll be doing this recipe, but still, same thing. An infinity egg seems to be somewhat easy to craft. I have to make a few more dragon eggs, but that's okay. Demon hearts are kind of the only issue. I don't know if I have enough already. I don't, which means I might have to do a little bit of witchery to get the demon hearts. I just need to figure out how to spawn demons. Besides that, these 2 chalk variants are actually not particularly difficult to make. It's a witch's cauldron recipe with some random shit, but nothing new. Everything I've already made before or I have. So the main problem here is the demon hearts. So time to look into witchery. Luckily, it doesn't seem like it's too much witchery. In fact, I already have the quest unlocked. To get demon hearts, I need to kill demons, and to get demons, I need to do a summoning. Not only that, I will also need an Arthana, and that has its own quest over here, which I can sort of skip. It's just a little dagger that needs to be crafted, but I don't really need to craft it because I can get it as a quest reward for the previous quest that leads up to it, and I think I am going to do that. And this is a very easy quest. I need an altar, which I already have, and I need a candelabra, which means a little research, which is fine, and a very, very simple crafting recipe. As for the summoning, I'm not totally sure, but the quest suggested making this book, so I did. And on page 49, it shows you how to do it and the items and mobs that you need. And the fact that this circle is in red text means that I need Infernal Chalk to draw it. So I need to make some of that as well, which is fine because I need some for the Infinity Egg too. So I need to make some Otherware Chalk and some Infernal Chalk. I'll also get the Arthana and all the research that's needed, and then I'll set up the ritual. Kind of weird, but to make the Infernal Chalk, NEI says I need a power of 1,000, but I actually needed more than that. I needed about 3,000, I think. And the way you turn up the power of your witchery altar is to add a dragon egg, some heads, specifically your own, or any players, a skeleton head, and a wither skeleton head. That, along with a bunch of random nature stuff like vines, logs, dirt, flowers, crops, all of that brings it up to, in my case, 3,300 power. And that is indeed enough to make these chalks. Now to actually do this ritual, I need refined evil, which can be made in a distillery pretty easily, ender pearls, blaze powder, and a villager. So I've gone ahead and collected up 6 villagers, and I'm going to sacrifice all of them. Hope this works. Oh, he's gone. And here's a demon. I don't know why it's blinding me like this. It's kind of obnoxious. Demon heart. Just need 5 more. Awesome. Infinity egg. Surprised there's no quest about this, but anyway, now I can start making Dragonblood. Oh, I got a long grind ahead of me. See you later. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will begin on the long journey to a Mark V compact fusion reactor, upgrading infrastructure along the way where necessary, potentially even adding a second Mark IV compact to help craft the Mark V, and whenever that is done, we will begin investigating the requirements for crafting a Forge of the Gods. Yes, I will be building it by hand, assisted by a humble building wand.